The ancient Commagene civilization, found between 162 and 72 BC in the southeast of Turkey amid the Roman Empire and the Parthian Kingdom, at the west of the Euphrates, is a buffer state that reigned for 234 years. Being a small but happy country, as Strasbourg stated, this civilization lived in its most brilliant period during 69 to 36 BC under the reign of King Antiochus I. The ancient Commagene civilization remained for a short time on the stage of civilizations, but kept its historical texture for thousands of years. One of the best examples of this texture is the 2,150-meter high Mount Nemrut, which found its rightful place in UNESCO's World Heritage Site list in 1987. The sculptures that we still admire today were first discovered by Helmuth von Moltke, who served as a military advisor in the Ottoman Empire. At the end of 1881, upon the letter sent by Karl Sester, who was a chief engineer in the road construction works in Diyarbakir province, to the Royal Prussian Academy of Science in Berlin, the decision to send a research delegation from Germany to the lands of the ancient Commagene kingdom was taken. The Academy commissioned Otto Pushtin and Karl Sester to clarify the issue. On the other hand, the Ottoman government appointed the director of the Imperial Museum, Osman Hamdi Bey, for this research. When the research team completed their mission and left the Mount Nemrut, they did not only have in hand a full copy of the inscriptions, but they had also uncovered the main feature of the Mount Nemrut. The characteristic peak of the mountain was in fact artificial. At that time, the east and west terraces were completed on an egg-like cross-section of the land, and tens of thousands of cubic meters of pebbles extracted during these works formed a 50-meter-high tumulus. The king of Commagene, Antiochus I, describes his tumulus in the inscription as, "It is really me who erected these statues worthy of the gods." The statues of Zeus or Monasdes, Apollo Mithras, Helios and Hermes, Algonestes, Heracles, Eris, and a replica of Commagene that feels everything symbolizing my homeland, carved from the same stone carved, and together with them, sitting on the throne, I also erected my replica near the gods who hear everything. There are two terraces on the east and west sides of the tumulus, where 9 meters high gigantic statues sitting on the throne and reliefs, including the statue of Antiochus I, are located. Constructed by placing stone blocks that weighing about 7 to 8 tons on top of each other, these statues of gods are aligned in the same order on both terraces. They are aligned from left to right, as lion, eagle, god king Antiochus I himself. Next to him, the country's main goddess Commagene, right at the center of the main god Zeus or Monasdes. Next to him, respectively, Apollo Mithras, Heracles, Artegnes, i.e. Hercules, and again lion and eagle. The statue of Zeus or Monasdes, the greatest god of the heavens, is right in the middle of the group. In accordance with the hierarchical superiority, he was built larger than the gods next to him, and the first step of his throne is also higher than the lowest step of the thrones of the other gods. On both sides of these statues, symbols of the protectors of the kingdom, eagle and lion statues, were located symmetrically. The bodies of god statues are partially intact in the east and scattered in the west. Careful joining and placement of the body blocks without the use of any mortar was also intended to provide flexibility against earthquakes. Small cavities on the temporals of the heads and on the sides of some blocks attire attention. These cavities are made to remove blocks with metallic apparatus. And this shows us that the pieces were carved on the ground and then placed on the sculptured bodies. On the back side of the stone blocks forming the thrones on both terraces where the statues of gods sit, we see a 237-line cult inscription, Nomas, written by Antiochus the First himself. The inscription begins with the genealogy of King Antiochus. Then he wants his cult to last forever, his customs and traditions and his continuity with the hearers, monks and musicians, and states his propositions from this sacred place to survive with the revenue obtained from the royal heritage. This inscription clearly indicates that Antiochus I wants to lie in peace forever after his death under the Tullus, and that he has a holy tomb. Since it is thought to be impossible to reach the burial chamber without damaging the Tullus, the mystery of Mount Nemrut is still protected. At the head of Zeus, with the top tilted forward, we see a Persian crown called diadem that the kings put on their heads to show their authority in antiquity. The lightning reliefs in Zeus's diadem makes it different from the ones on the other gods. Zeus has a beard covering his entire face, and he wears a cloak, apron-shaped skirt, on a long-sleeved tunic and short boots. The bundle of the tamarisk tree he has in his left hand symbolizes the sacred fire burned during the sacrifice ceremonies in the Persian Mitha region. On the left side of Zeus, we see the figure of Apollo Mithras Helios Hermes. Like Zeus, Apollo has a long-sleeved tunic and cloak. He is also wearing an apron-like skirt with short boots and holds a bundle of the tamarisk tree in his left hand. This statue, known as the goddess of the fertile Commagene lands, is the only female figure in this area. The same goddess is called the goddess Argande in other descriptions found in the Commagene. She has a pomegranate, olive, fig and grape motifs on her crown. She wears a mantle with long boots on her feet. In her left hand, she holds a wreath full of fruits and flowers, and in her right hand, a basket full of fruits that some has fallen on her lap. The statue of King Antiochus stands on the other end of the group. He wears the Persian boots we see on other male figures and holds a bundle, a balsam of the tamarisk tree in his left hand like Zeus and Apollo. Antiochus has in his head a 5-pronged cap with a diadem and ribbons. This cap worn by kings is also known as tiara. At the other end of the statues of God, we see Artigenes Heracles Ares, which is known as Hercules by many people. Heracles, like the other gods, is fully dressed and has his club in his left hand as usual. He has a beard like Zeus, but he wears a different diadem and tiara. The statues of God end up with a low and long base on both sides, more or less aligned with the first step of the thrones. Giant animal sculptures consisting of protective eagle and lion figures symbolizing heaven and nobility were built on each base. The main statues on the west terrace, except for some small details, are exactly the same as a series of sculptures on the east terrace. The big cult inscription at the back of the throne bases is exactly repeated. Almost all of the bodies of the gods sitting on their throne were shattered and scattered throughout the area. Their architectural structures are also the same as those on the eastern terrace. The goddess Commagene sits right next to Antiochus. The fragments of the goddess statue are scattered in the front area, as in the others. The dress of the goddess Commagene is the same as that of the statue on the east terrace. Zeus sitting on his throne is right in the middle again. He has a beard, a moustache, and a high Persian tiara. Apollo, located at the south of Zeus, wears a long-sleeved outfit like Heracles and other gods, and has Persian boots on his feet. We also see the eagle and lion pairs on the western terrace as on the eastern one. However, in here, the protective animal sculptures have also been severely damaged. The differences seen in the construction of the heads of the west and east terraces indicate that these sculptures were made by different sculptors with different working methods. At the other end of this terrace, there are reliefs showing the scenes of greetings and handshaking of Antiochus I, goddess Commagene, god Zeus Ormodastus, god Apollo, Mithras, and Heracles. Another relief is the lion horoscope relief. 19 stars are located on the floor of the relief and on the body of the lion. The crescent-shaped moon and the 3 planets, Jupiter, Mercury, and Mars, are carved on the lion's chest. This convergence, interpreted as the 7th of July 62 BC, is the date of Antiochus' ascension to the throne, according to some researchers, and the day the Mount Nemrut was found, according to others. These magnificent monuments, located at the summit of Mount Nemrut, at the borders of Adiman, will be preserved and transferred to future generations.